Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
BoxingVoice.com.
TBE Productions.
I must be the greatest. Let's get that done. I've been here before, and I know what it takes. Hard work, dedication. BoxingVoice.com. Mayweather is TBE. He's the best.
Win, lose, or draw, we coming to fight. Ain't nobody take that away. We're coming to fight.
They do what they can, I do what I want.
When you look at how he throws that left hook, it starts out really low. We're going to see what kind of character he has.
Oh, and the lefts and rights by Maidana. And it's all Marcos Maidana here to a lot of those punches off his shoulder.
I think anybody out there listening or a kid, anybody, I think that's a dangerous deal to make. I think it's perfect. That's it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another very special on-demand episode brought to you by your very own friend in the chat, Igloo. Continues to purchase some on-demand shows, which you can do you're the same by heading on over to ThaBoxingVoice.com/on-demand and have us discuss a topic of your liking in depth. We're going to give Igloo about an hour here on the legacy of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Or just Floyd Mayweather, right? I mean, because he did kind of check Jim Gray on that. I don't know, but let's head on over to my co-hosts in the Golden State.
TBE Productions.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor. BoxingVoice.com.
He know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rope into a knockout. When the main thing is, I just want the guy. I wish.
BoxingVoice.com.
Yes, the hipsters here. Haters beware. And Floyd Mayweather Jr., the guy that as a 22-year-old was the greatest that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I grew up in the Mayweather era, to be honest. He debuted in 1996, I believe. I was born in 95, to put that in perspective. So like his first title win was in 98. I was 3 years old. So I've only known in my lifetime Floyd Mayweather as one of the greats. Really? I don't even know how that is applicable to this situation and what I'm saying. But anyways, hater Ness, Mayweather will go down as one of the greats of all time. That's without a doubt. What his legacy is, though, what he is passing on to the next generation, what we will talk about and what the consensus will be in 30, 40 years will be interesting because with time becomes a consensus. There's very few dissension about guys like Ali and Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, all these greats from a long time ago. There's a consensus about what they are and what their legacy is. And I wonder if Mayweather's going to have that because right now his legacy is not a consensus amongst the boxing fandom. You still have a lot of people that do not like Mayweather, think he took easy touches, he beat old guys and such. And it's interesting about how he is one of the greats of all time. I think that's without dispute. But his legacy is still up for debate, in my opinion.
So I guess we should start from the very beginning, and that being the definition of legacy. What exactly is Mayweather's legacy, and what exactly does he leave behind? I'm going to go on the record early in case people don't make it through the whole show and say I think it's too soon to kind of define the legacy of any person, especially a fighter who can possibly still be fighting, because, even though he is not a favorite to lose this quote unquote Conor McGregor fight, stranger things have happened and that could tarnish the legacy. So I think it's a little soon to
let's throw out the Conor McGregor fight. Let's say that fight it doesn't happen. That's not in existence. It's only the 49-0. He's retired. He's done. This is it. His career's over. I think we need to attack it or look at it from that perspective.
I mean, what has he done?
A lot.
He's a trendsetter, to say the least. He's a trendsetter. He definitely pushed the PD era and enforcing testing. He was a huge advocate of that. I know that others will argue that, everybody took a stance, but I think Floyd's cry kind of made people listen.
But it's funny that you bring that up first, because even within that, yes, he was one of the really first big stars to go, like, we need USADA in a sense. But then even he violated, I think it was VADA or USADA's rules about IVs for the Manny Pacquiao fight. And obviously he got a post.
He got an exemption.
He got a post exemption, which means after the fact, after he did it, he went and asked for an exemption and he got one. And his detractors used that against him and saying, "Oh, see, he was always using." I'm not saying he was. I'm saying, like, that was the first thing you bring up, and even within that, there is
the reason that I bring that up is
within fans and what we think.
The reason that I bring that up is because seldomly do we see superstars use their influence for the right reasons, and I think that was one. But I mean, if we want to stay boxing, I guess his legacy has to be his defense, the mastery of the shoulder roll. He, statistically is going down as the guy to get hit the least, for sure, and to be one of the most accurate. They're starting to add Lomachenko to that list, right, based on the output and how many punches he lands. But that's been Floyd's bread and butter for a long time. So I mean, I guess that falls under his legacy. But I mean, does legacy, when it comes to a fighter, have to do with everything? Because I mean, should we mention some of his earlier accolades?
Yeah, because they're valuable. I mean, he will go down as the second best lightweight ever behind Iran. I mean, that there's definitely an argument there. The guys he beat, the manner in which he beat them. I know we have a list somewhere. I know you have it up. I don't have it up right now, actually, of some of the notable wins in that run, the early run of his career when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. And it's an impressive resume from 130 all the way till about the Oscar De La Hoya fight. He mows down everyone. Except for maybe one guy. Except for one guy.
There's Angel Manfredi, Emmanuel Augustus, Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, DeMarcus Corley, Arturo Gotti, Zab Judah, Carlos Balderman. Now,
and there's some other names I didn't put in that list that are more hardcore that you may not like, Ness, but he did beat some great competition from 130 to 135 to 140 and eventually 147.
So difficult. I wasn't privy for the Hernandez era, but Manfredi, Augustus, Corrales, Castillo, Corley, Gotti, Judah, Baldomir. I know those careers. What's funny is they've all, except I think Emmanuel Augustus, has never been a world champion, and probably DeMarcus Corley. Castillo, I believe. Corrales for sure. Manfredi, I'm not sure either. I don't know, man. I don't know. Legacy. I guess that's up to
But again, that's only half of his career in a sense.
Yeah, for sure. But that is the half that everybody talks about, like, oh, that was when he was the best, when he was knocking guys out. And I mean, Corley, like, he's a, you know what? I'm gonna move on to Money May.
Are we gonna talk about that transition at all? And I think, because to me, that transition from him being Pretty Boy to Money May is his biggest legacy. To me, and we're gonna get maybe that
was definitely the turning point in his career.
And I think it was just a turning point off of boxing too. Like even in competition. If we don't have Money May, we don't have guys like Adrian Broner.
Oh yeah, Sure, he influenced people. That's what I say. He's a trendsetter. When we opened
the Carlo brothers, he's influenced Keith Thurman. He's influenced Danny Garcia. He's influenced so many guys at the top. Wilder, Anthony Joshua. He's influenced so many of these guys in ways that we really don't think about. And the Pretty Boy and Money May personas, to me, are his biggest legacy. Maybe that's jumping the shark of the show, but I'm just that transition is really key to his career and the sport of boxing too. I would say.
Well, I mean,
do we have the pay-per-view era like we did if he wasn't Money May?
No, I mean, I think that that's why when we speak of superstars, we mention him and Pacquiao and say like that, that those days are gone because he was a persona. And it took that De La Hoya fight for the cameras to be on and for him to really flourish. And ever since then, he ran with it. And yeah, I mean, you could absolutely say that Money May is part of the legacy because it is the turning point. That Oscar De La Hoya fight changed everything. For sure.
I mean, coming out with the sombrero on and stuff like that, like it was just iconic images and statements, and obviously some of it was crossing the line, but
because he could back it up, bro. It's so beautiful when you can talk shit and not get beat because they hate you more.
And in the manner in which he beat guys also made people hate him more. Like his defensive style, along with the fact that he was unbeaten, along with his persona, especially his Money Mayweather persona, made people not like him. I
miss the times when he would be a little mean and say that he was going to whoop somebody's ass. You know what I mean? I preferred those times. When he talked about Gotti, Corrales, Mosley.
Well, it's funny because, in my opinion, like the Money May era is divided into the Showtime and HBO stints. Because I think when he went to Showtime, he was a much different style of Money Mayweather. Like it was presented differently. It was much more laid back, way more.
Well, yeah, I mean, because on HBO he was more aggressive. Remember, he had to take the throne. He had to take the throne, and then he had constant battling from Larry Merchant. And he never felt he got the credit that he deserved. So yeah, and then on the Showtime side of things, I think it was more like the spoils. Like we got to see everything that Money May created, and that's what Showtime was able to show us, like the mansion, the cars, the girls, which got repetitive to most.
It did get repetitive, let's be honest. It did. Like by the Berto fight or the second Maidana fight, it was just
by the Berto fight, that was the last fight. Ooh, you must have enjoyed it if that's when you got if that's when he got tired, he was loving it then.
What, you didn't like the Canelo whole buildup?
I'm just saying, if you
maybe I ignored the Robert Guerrero one.
Got tired on his last fight, you did well.
Last couple fights, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like most people were done a long time ago.
But again, think about it, like you are a product of the Tyson era. So
I love the 24/7. I don't think I can ever dislike it. I've said it on the show before. Anytime you give me more of the fighter, I'm happy. That's why social media is even better. It's an insight. Like, we'll be talking about Joel Diaz later on tonight and Regis Prograis. I mean, look, no one's covering those guys. Thank God for Instagram.
But like from my perspective as a younger guy in the sport, growing up in the Mayweather era, not everyone is a boxing fan. So I didn't see all Mayweather's fights growing up. I didn't. It took me about going into high school to really get educated on Mayweather and everyone and the sport as a whole. Because I started getting a job and had my own fun, so I started being able to buy my own pay-per-views. But I miss fights like the Shane Mosley one. I missed that live. I never saw Mayweather Shane Mosley live. What other fights? I think I missed the Ricky Hatton fight live. I missed so many big fights of Mayweather live because of just the lack of boxing fans in the world or in America as a whole.
I don't think I've ever missed any Mayweather fight live.
It's pay-per-view, yeah. When you're a kid and your parents aren't necessarily either home.
I hear you. I'm just saying.
Willing to throw down $65 for a fight.
That Ricky Hatton performance was crazy.
Insane. I've watched that at least 100 times.
Hatton had all those fans. I mean, the De La Hoya fight was also very, very Each fight, like the Marquez, they all had their own little bit of drama. Like in the Ricky Hatton, he brought 30,000, and Floyd check hooked him into the turnbuckle. Dude was out like a light. The De La Hoya, you already know the buildup. You know, the Marquez, it was the weight. With Mosley, he landed that right hand. With Ortiz, he got headbutted. You know, with Cotto, the first guy to kind of make him bleed, right? Now, I don't know if I don't want to say first guy, but definitely where people was like, yo, Cotto put hands on Floyd. Then Canelo, it was he's taking on the young lion and he whitewashes him.
People forget that Oscar put some hands on him too.
Yeah,
the Oscar fight was. I know you don't think it is. And I think we've had this discussion before, but that Oscar fight was close. I know people that think the Oscar fight was a draw or Oscar won it.
Wow, won it. Well. That sounds like a film study. It would be interesting to go back. I mean, when I watched that, I wasn't watching it with like, you know, podcaster eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, oh wow. But yeah, every one of his fights, you know, as much as you want to nitpick about his career, like each one had that little bit of drama.
People will bring up like the Robert Guerrero fight, for example, and say like, oh, that's a cherry pick. Andre Berto is a cherry pick. They're going to bring up certain little fights like that.
I mean, I don't know where you like, who do you hang out with that people that you talk to say that? Because
do you not see a live chat or comments?
Again, I don't know who you. Again, I'm saying I don't know who.
Public. It's not people I hang out with. It's the public.
Because any logical boxing fan understands that Guerrero aligned himself by fighting Aiden and then beating Berto, becoming the WBC mandatory. But I will go on the record and say, obviously, Mayweather still picks and chooses which mandatories he's gonna make. But you know, it is what it is, bro. Like,
anyways, getting to my point, because you didn't let me finish my point. I was bringing up a situation or a statement or a fact amongst the fandom that there was a portion of fans, I'm not saying all of them, but a portion of fans that thinks he was a cherry picker at times. That he would pick guys like Robert Guerrero, who was not on the level. Let's all be honest.
Yeah, and you guys wanted him to like give a shot to Keith Thurman at that time.
Hold up, time. But when you look at the body of work by Mayweather, I mean, who really compares? At least of recent memory. I mean, the only guy that I can think of that really compares to that resume is guys like maybe like a Sugar Ray Leonard. Tyson doesn't compare to that. Evander Holyfield doesn't compare to that. Pernell Whitaker doesn't compare to that record.
But I mean, just using the term cherry picker, it's silly because Pacquiao had his own matchmaking, bro. Like, because he was with Top Rank, he had trilogies with Bradley and 4 or 5 fights with Marquez and 3 with Morales. Like, think about this. That's, if anything, that is cherry picking. Some would obviously argue, oh, they were good fights, so they kept rematching it. But no, that was just Top Rank doing in-house.
I really can't say that that's cherry picking because the top 5 guys. Hold on.
They both were signed to Golden Boy. Like,
top 5 guys fighting each other over and over again. If they're still the top 5, it's still the best fighting the best. So I cannot hate that. And those fights were great.
But top 5
Bradley fights are good. The Bradley trilogy is so underrated. Let's be honest.
Okay, listen, I'm not saying that the Bradley was and still has, you know, a great resume. He deserved the shot at Pacquiao. So did Marquez. Even Morales, obviously, those people have cemented their legacy as well. What I'm saying is we got him over and over instead of other fights because it was in-house. Is all I'm saying. Let's not ignore like this wasn't taking place. The same thing Mayweather was doing, Top Rank was doing. It's what you do.
I don't know. I think we cannot say that one was better than the other because I think both guys have a great resume. What makes one of them better?
Anyone is better than anyone. I'm not mentioning that. I'm just saying to use the term cherry picker.
You're downplaying.
No, I'm saying to use the term cherry picker or to bring up something you read in a chat or a forum or in whatever and say cherry picker with Floyd's name is ridiculous because all fighters get match made. There's a matchmaker
There's
for a
people in
reason.
the chat right now using the cherry fucking emoji right now. What are you talking about, dude?
It wouldn't matter. What I'm saying is, but that guy.
It does matter. No, you can't say it doesn't matter because the public decides your legacy. And these people in the chat are the public. This is the public. All the people on Twitter.
Listen, public doesn't.
Twitter determines so many things. It determines how brands react to certain products. Look at the Pepsi commercial with Kendall Jenner or whatever, and how Twitter reacted to that, and how they took off the ad.
Dude,
so let's not act like social media and people on forums and shit like that don't have an effect.
All right, they have an effect.
You can say their opinion is wrong. I agree. I think it's a wrong opinion. I don't think he's a cherry picker, but you cannot say their opinions do not have an effect in terms of public perception.
I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying
boxers have on Mayweather.
I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is to bring up the term cherry picker as a conscious boxing fan, is ridiculous. Let that weirdo say whatever he wants in the chat who obviously doesn't know.
Can you say that? Can you say Robert Guerrero was a soft touch?
Was he not a mandatory?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so if it doesn't matter,
Jeff Horn's mandatory. I don't give a fuck about mandatory.
And it's happening. And so
it's a soft touch.
And later on, we'll be talking about the IBF and their rulings of mandatories. These things happen. You can't act like we could avoid them. Wilder's gonna fight fucking Stavern. Stop, man. This is so stupid.
And that's a soft touch.
Why can't we just be logical?
That is logical.
No, we're not. You can't call it a soft touch if it's something that has to happen.
Just because you have the title of mandatory does not mean you are elite. Just like the title of champion does not make you the best guy in the division.
Some way, somehow, you earned your shot. Earl Spence was.
No, that's not true. Not all guys earn their shot. Jeff Horn's the perfect example. He hasn't beat anyone else. Hold on. He hasn't beat anyone else in the top 15. And you're saying he's earned his mandatory spot by not beating anyone else in the top 15? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck the mandatories. Fuck the rankings. I don't care about them.
Has them ranked. That's it. That's what we go by.
No, it's not what we go by. We shouldn't go by that. It's what the sanctioning bodies go by. They go by their own rankings, yes. But boxing fans can have their own rankings and their own ideas about who is the top 15.
Sure, Matt. Sure. Like, we're not going to talk about the next mandatory fight that just gets signed. Like, stop, man. Just come back to earth, fucking Peter Pan.
I am in earth.
You're in fucking Neverland. As soon as the WBC mandates fucking Sean Porter versus Berto, we're going to be talking about it. Stop with your fucking lies, man. You want to live in this reality because you want to live in this reality for 1 minute and then turn around and say, oh, fuck the sanctioning bodies. Come on, man. But when Toyota Corolla has to get his mandatory shot versus Ndam, then it's okay for the sanctioning bodies and the fucking hipsters pom-poms to come out. Come on, bro.
He's earning his mandatory spot. He's fighting somebody to earn his spot. Has Jeff Horn fought someone to earn that spot?
He fought someone. He obviously fought someone.
No, he didn't. He hasn't fought anyone in the top 15.
How'd he get there? How'd he get there? It's a WBO ranking. It's a WBO ranking.
No, yeah, it's a pay-for-play.
No, it's not.
Organization.
No, it's not. Maybe just other fighters are not even fighting in that sanctioning body. If you notice, have you
looked at the rankings? Have you? Because I have.
If you notice, you rarely see a fucking Al Heyman fighter as a WBO champion. What you do see is a lot. What you do see is a lot of top-ranked fighters. Do you want to go and waste time and go to their thing and show you how many top-ranked fighters are champion? Off top, Valdez, Gilberto Ramirez, Jesse Magdaleno, all WBO champions. Manny Pacquiao. Who the fuck else? Joseph Parker. I mean, should I keep going? I should bring out guns right now. I should be the Punisher right now, like this. You know what I'm saying? They own that sanctioning body. That's the way that it works. But this is the world we live in. We live in this world knowing the Top Rank owns that sanctioning body. We know that. We know that Eddie Hearn got a good relationship with the IBF. We know that. We know that Mexicans And Al Heyman got a great relationship with the WBC. We know that. You know, why we acting crazy? We know what we know. We don't have to live in this world that you want to live in where, oh, sanctioning bodies don't matter. And then as soon as they say fucking Anthony Joshua gets an exemption and Vladimir Klitschko 2 is official, you want to talk about it. Come on, man. You're shooting yourself in the foot is all
He
I'm
has to beat one guy in the top 15.
Sure.
I'm in ranked number 1. Timothy Bradley's ranked number 1.
Floyd has the
He's
biggest.
ranked above Jesse Vargas. How is that acceptable?
What?
That Jeff Horn is ranked above Jesse Vargas.
Vargas lost.
But has Jeff Horn beat anyone of the same ranking as Jesse Vargas or ranked above him? No. Has he beat Bradley Skeet? No. Has he beat Teres Chelestuk? No.
Oh, he's on backtrack. He's on backtrack, ladies and gentlemen.
Has he beat Adrian Navarro? I'm just naming the rankings for you. Has he beat? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Dimitri Makanutko, Ray Robinson, Jose Benavides, Chris Van Heerden, Alexander.
No, this is why he's not fighting them.
Carlos Ocampo. He hasn't beat anyone in that rankings, and those guys are ranked in these other sanctioning bodies. Don't act like there's a ton of these guys that are ranked in these other, like the IBF, WBA, and such. So let's not act like Jeff Horn has earned his spot. He hasn't, and let's not act like Robert Guerrero actually earned his spot.
You know what it is with Matt? He's younger than the other guys that would say, oh, he ducked Margarito. So Matt's thing is Robert Guerrero. Listen,
okay, Margarito I think is obvious. Sorry, he ducked Margarito.
Let's move on to what they can never take from him is the fact that he has the 3 biggest live gates ever against, obviously, Manny Pacquiao, where they collected about 72 million. Number 2 with Canelo, raking in 20 mil, and with Oscar doing 18 milli. And he also has 3 of the biggest pay-per-view revenues, obviously, again, Manny Pacquiao, raking in 410 plus million. And with Canelito, over 150 million. And with Oscar, over 137 million. And he's been able to accumulate 11 world titles in 5 different weight classes with 5 lineal belts. The same belts, aka sanctioning bodies, that Matthew thinks means nothing. Matthew, that's your cue to say something.
I'm not going to take the bait. That's why.
My name is Floyd. My name is Floyd. My name is Money Mayweather.
Hating on the boy. Oh, he ducked Margarito. This is why, I mean, you know, these shows are subjective. We're going to take some callers, obviously, and get your opinions.
And like I said at the very beginning of the show, he is still one of the best ever. Best I've ever seen. I'm not hating. I'm just being realistic. You can, because like for some reason, people think that if you don't like a certain situation or a certain thing by someone or a certain action by someone, you hate that person or their legacy. No, I think he has a couple soft touches. You can say the cherry picks in his resume, and you can definitely say he ducked Margarito. But that doesn't take away
Let me ask you something
else he's done. It's not mutually exclusive. His legacy.
Let me ask you a question.
What?
Is Robert Guerrero more accomplished than Angel Manfredi, Emmanuel Augustus, Jose Luis Castillo, DeMarcus Corley?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because Robert Guerrero's best win is what, Andre Berto, right?
Yeah, he still won titles in multiple divisions.
No. I understand that. I'm just saying his best win is Andre Berto. I can't think of.
I don't have the box rec up because this was a Floyd show.
I'm just going off the top of the dome. I'm just saying.
Turned into a Robert the Ghost show.
I think you can say that he's better than Manfredi and Emmanuel Augustus. I'm not going to argue that point. All I'm going to say is that Robert Guerrero has lost a lot of his big fights. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe so, but
that doesn't mean that he's a bad fighter.
Is Robert Guerrero better than Rod Salka?
Of course, man. Of course.
All right. I'm saying
again, you're comparing
No, I'm not. I'm just
his
comparing.
resume to
comparing
Mayweather's at that point, and
cherry
they're
picks.
not comparable at all.
I'm comparing quote unquote cherry picks. So that's what I'm saying. If Robert Guerrero's not a Rod Salka, why are you disrespecting Floyd?
Not all cherry picks are created equal.
Oh, okay, yeah, because haters have to have back doors to slip out of.
Come on, man. Like, not all champions are created equal. Not all mandatories are created equal, and not all cherry picks are created equal.
Okay.
We all thought Tony Bellew was a cherry pick before David Hay, and it turns out he isn't.
All right. Hey,
we all think Jeff Horn's a cherry pick against Manny Pacquiao. Maybe
let's
that's different.
Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Let's play a game of who beats who on Floyd's resume on that day. You know? Like when Floyd fought. I don't even want to bring up Berto because I think a lot of people would think that Berto would lose to a lot of people. But like Floyd, that day Floyd fought Manny, that day he fought Marcos Maidana, that day he fought Canelo. Like who would beat those fighters that day? That Miguel Cotto.
Who beat the Maidana that day? Who would beat the Cotto that day? Or right, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, who would beat that Canelo that day? Back then. Not now either. Not cheating now, giving those guys time to develop. No. Because, I mean...
I think Cotto would have had a good chance against Canelo.
Back then?
Yeah, back then. I think Canelo progressed a lot after that Mayweather fight, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, just thinking about that fight now, it was a little tight. So maybe Cotto had a better shot back then.
Yeah, I would say he definitely had a better shot. And again, this is all just, does he have a shot, right? I don't know. I'm not necessarily going to favor.
And Victor Ortiz was doing good that fight. He just fucked up mentally. People forget that shit. Like don't laugh. He was doing good. He was going to the body well. He just
turned himself into a meme.
He lost it. He lost it, man. He lost it.
It's unfortunate. Maidana would give a lot of guys trouble. Especially if you're talking about just the welterweight division at that time.
Styles makes fights. I mean, Khan
you put that Maidana versus like a Keith Thurman now, that'd be a really good fight. I would still favor Keith Thurman, but Maidana would give Keith Thurman a hell of a run for his money. Earl Spence would have trouble with him for sure. I may favor Maidana against Earl Spence if we have that version of Maidana. But again, these are all relative and very subjective, so it's very hard to say.
Yeah, that Oscar. Who in the middleweight division would it be Oscar back then?
A lot.
A lot?
He got beat by Bernard, didn't he?
I'm talking about. I said middleweight by mistake. I said middleweight by mistake. I meant junior middleweight. Junior middleweight because obviously he and Floyd fought at 54. I said middleweight by mistake. That's because he went up there and served himself up to Bernard.
No, Oscar would have probably beat a lot of guys at 154 at that time.
He would have definitely beat Liam Smith. He would have beat the brakes off of Liam Smith.
But I think
damn, I don't know. Would Oscar beat Demetrius Andrade?
Yes, he would.
Andrade's a southpaw.
Carlos would give him a lot of issues. I definitely, if Jamal.
Remember, Oscar had that serious left hook though, and he had a serious jab, dedicated.
Laura beats him. I think Laura beats him. To be honest,
man, you're crazy. Laura don't throw enough punches for Oscar, man.
I think it would be a very boring and anticlimactic fight, but I think Laura could definitely beat him.
Young Oscar was busy, bro.
But young Oscar was 130 pounds.
I never understood that whole Trinidad fight, man. Going in circles, man. I was like, crazy, man. Crazy. What else should we touch on here in terms of this man's legacy? I mean, I just think that he's gonna be just like. There are only a few guys. It's funny that they're all black, right? I mean, no one goes around saying, "Oh, Rocky Marciano." I guess I'm not in those circles then, right? Because it's like always Ali, Tyson, and Floyd. That's his legacy. Like he's made it to that mythical Mount Rushmore for boxing, his face is gonna be carved there. It's synonymous with the sport. Like people would always mention Floyd.
Definitely for casuals. Hardcores will always bring up guys. No, let's be honest. Hardcores will always bring.
Hear this and be like, "Yo, these guys don't even like." What the fuck do you mean? Definitely for casuals. Yo, dude.
Hold on. Time out. For casuals, he may be top 3, right? I think just because, like you said, he is so known. He's become synonymous with the sport, similar to guys like Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard and Tyson. So you can make argument for casuals. He's definitely top 5, top 3. But for hardcores, you're always gonna bring up guys like Sugar Ray Robinson. You're always gonna bring up guys like Joe Louis, Willie Pep. You're gonna bring up guys like that. Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler might get ranked above him. I'm not saying I do, but I'm saying that there are definitely people that have him in the top 10 and not the top 5 all time. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think that's a shot at Mayweather to say, "Hey, you're only top 10 all time." You know, sorry that his ego is so fucking, bruised by saying that you're top 10 all time instead of top 5, but that's a reality.
What are some of your favorite Floyd fights? Obviously, the ones him being
the first fight I ever saw live was the Gotti one. So that one will always
the question.
But no, I know I'm answering it. So that one will always stick in my mind. So that one I will always love, and I can always go back and watch. The Diego Corrales fight, I loved. I was a big Diego Corrales fan. That was hurtful to watch on online afterwards. And Ricky Hatton fight was awesome. I thought that was, especially in the later half of his career, one of his best performances. Plus, he got the finish that was, I would say, legitimate. The Victor Ortiz fight's a little bit murky. I like the Maidana fight because it was so long since we've seen Floyd tested that it was nice to see that again. So that one will always sort of stick in my mind. Oscar's huge. Miguel Cotto is a good fight. Those ones to me, those are like the top 5, top 10 Floyd fights.
Sound like you mentioned 20 over there.
But he had some good fights, or at least I don't know, important fights. I would say influential fights.
Well, no, it was dominant performances, and I think it's like it goes under Guerrero gets under there because he whitewashed Guerrero. He whitewashed Canelo. And I'd even throw, I know a lot of people are going to argue and give me shit, but I'm going to throw the first Maidana fight in there as a dominant performance. I'm going to say you could argue with anyone about rounds 2 and 4 and all that, but very few people would argue like past round 5, right? Giving 5 to Maidana in that first fight, giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Maidana. Floyd turned it up after that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all Floyd. I call that dominance. That was just like, wow. I didn't even understand why we got the rematch. I remember being mad. I bet you if you go back and listen to the show, I was mad. Like, this don't mad. It don't make any sense. It didn't make any sense why people tried to argue that shit. Like, be generous and give Maidana all 5. Fuck it.
Every casual I was with when I saw that fight thought that Maidana either won, it was a draw, or Floyd barely won the fight.
Insane. They gave him another payday by forcing, not even forcing it, but he was like, well, for real. And then that's why, and that's the Mayweather I like. Remember, I had that soundbite once upon a time when he was like, he told Maidana, bet your check. Yeah. So what else? Favorite Floyd fights in terms of overcoming adversity. I'm going to say, I mean, the adversity that he's overcome has been so minuscule because he's been so good that, like, again, Cotto made him bleed, and it's like, Mosley landed a right hand. Oh my God, so based off that level of the fans and calling, those type of scenarios, adversity, I would say that the Mosley, he buckled, he held on, he really looked hurt in that shot. But then again, his recovery, his dude's like Wolverine. He's got Wolverine blood.
Like you said, like it's very hard to say because he's been so dominant throughout his career. Even in close fights, like the Maidana, the first fight, a lot of people think it was close, but you say it was dominant still, and I would say even a lot of people say that the second half of the fight, Mayweather won pretty handily, even people that thought it was a close fight. Mosley's up there. Cotto was up there too, because Cotto gave him some work. That was a very tough fight.
Cotto, what adversity did he struggle in the Cotto fight?
Pressure. I would just say the pressure to the volume.
Okay.
You know, it may not have been like, again, Mayweather's rarely been hurt. Mayweather has one of the best chins in boxing as well. I think that's always downplayed because he is so little. He's not hit often, right? So the idea of him having a good chin is hard to see with guys like Triple G. He gets hit more often, so it's easier to see how great of a chin Triple G has. Mayweather has a granite chin, so even when he has been hit clean, he doesn't go down. So it like you said, there's so little adversity throughout his career actually that I think that's one of the main reasons why he gets a lot of hate, because people don't like seeing almost a perfect athlete who had a perfect career almost in terms of in the ring at least. People don't like that for some reason. So I think that's why he gets a lot of hate too.
That's why they nitpick.
Yeah, people like to take great people down a step. They like to do that, especially on social media. So they see this undefeated athlete who rarely gets hit. They're going to do everything in their power to detract from him.
Well, I say we open up the phone lines. We got a check-in from Mighty Sway. Says Floyd versus Hatton was his all-time, I guess, favorite, and Floyd versus Gotti, Floyd versus Chop Chop. Yeah, you know what? Versus Chop Chop, he did suffer some adversity. Chop Chop caught him with a nice right hand from the southpaw stance. But yeah, I don't know, man. We should get out to these phone lines. No sponsors, because this is brought to you by Igloo. But we have another one or two, right? Do you want to get to some callers before going back to these?
Yeah. Let's go to callers.
Let's go to Frankie in Phoenix. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing? Can you guys hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to call because I'm 22 years old, man. I'm pretty young cat. And shout out to the Boxing Voice, man. I just pledged $10, so I'm an official member of the Patreon.
Oh, shout out to you.
Anyways, man, yeah, I'm 22 years old and I'm a Mexican, dude. So my family, we love boxing. And my family hates Floyd Mayweather, bro, because we see him as a racist. And as I was growing older, I was taught to hate Floyd. But now that I'm older, I'm like, man, this dude, he is great, man. Like 20 or 30 years from now, I'm going to look back and tell my kids and say, damn, this is one of the best boxers that I ever witnessed. So I call this generation a hating generation, because look at LeBron. They hate him all the time. Look at Tom Brady. They hate on him all the time. But I guarantee you 20, 30 years from now, they're going to be like, man, these are all-time greats. This generation just hates, man. They're just haters. Like right now, they're hating on my boy Keith One-Time Thurman for no damn reason. I don't know why he gets hate. Maybe because he's light-skinned, really full black. But he gets hate. But that's all I got, man. Shout out to you guys. I'll be on Patreon. I'll be hitting you guys up on Skype. So thanks for having me on. That's all I got.
All right, Frankie. Well, don't forget, today we're going to have TBV Overtime on Patreon, and you could Skype in, or you can, we'll give you the magic number for that when the time comes. And also, shout out to you. We will be doing a list on the later today's show for all the new signups. Hey, Frankie, scroll down, all right, on that feed. You know, you want to check out some of the stuff there. I don't want to name drop Young Ali. I don't want to name drop. Donald, what is the legacy of Floyd Mayweather? Donald.
Oh, sorry about that. I had my thing plugged into my stereo. I like Floyd Mayweather. I think he's a good fighter. The only thing that really bothers me about when he says TBE, when he says he's the best ever, when a boxer says that he's the best ever, in my mind, I look at it as, if you're saying that you're the best ever, that means that when you were boxing and when your career was going, when it was a prospect or an undefeated fighter or even someone in the rankings that called you out, that said anything to you, The best ever to me is saying, oh, you calling me out, you doubt me? Let's go. I'm going to kick your ass. You want some? I'm going to kick your ass. You want some? I'm going to kick your ass. And in my opinion, Floyd is not that guy. But he's a great fighter. He's fought some really good guys. He's got a good resume. You know, he's got a lot of belts from a lot of different weight classes. He is one of the goodest, but I can't say he's the best ever for the simple fact that there was a lot of fighters he could have fought that he didn't fight. He didn't fight Paul Williams. He didn't fight Amir Khan. He didn't fight Timothy Bradley. He didn't fight Keith Thurman. I mean, those are just a couple off the top of my head who were active fighters at the time when he was an active fighter, who were in the weight classes he was in at the time. I mean, he didn't fight those guys. So for him to be done at his career, he's great. 49-0, everything. He's good. I would say he's the best defensive fighter ever. I will give him that. The best defensive fighter as far as not getting hit, not taking punishment. Oh, yeah, he's the greatest of all time for that. But the best ever? No, you're not the best ever. But you are the best of all time defensive fighter to not taking punishment. I give him that. But TBE, no, not that. You're not that. You know what I mean? So I just want to kind of like clarify that. I don't want anyone to think that I'm a hater against Floyd because I'm not. But I think that has to be very specifically clarified when we're talking about that, you know?
Donald.
For sure, Donald, man. Thanks for
very quickly, last Donald question. Oh, I'll bring him back on. I just want to ask him a quick question.
Go ahead.
Donald, Floyd's the best of his generation, period, right?
I can't give him the best of the generation. I can say he's the best defensive fighter of the generation because, like I said, there was several fights out there that he could have took and could have made, but he didn't. And I always have to think to myself in the back of my mind, I feel like Floyd knew what he was doing in his career. And when you're a fighter in that and you know what you're doing in your career and you know how your style is and you know what matches up, I feel like that it was just some fights that couldn't be made because he felt like it was just too much of a risk. I feel like he thought Keith Thurman was too much of a risk. And I also feel like he didn't fight Amir Khan because of the speed of Amir Khan. I mean, we all know that Amir Khan is like a counterpuncher's nightmare. And I would have loved to see how Amir Khan's long arms and his speed and his movement would have put up against Floyd. That was something I really would have wanted to see. If you would have asked me who do I want to see Floyd fight, Amir Khan or Keith Thurman, even though I wanted to see Keith Thurman, I would say Amir Khan because of Amir Khan's speed and his arms. I would like to have seen that, you know.
Donald, let me get to some other callers, but you are absolutely out of control.
Come on.
If Danny Garcia is good enough to time him, I'm not saying knock him out. Time
Mayweather knocks him out.
No. If Danny's good enough to time him, not knock him out, time him. How won't Floyd time him with the same check left hook? Like Floyd's the best. He invented the check left hook. You kidding me? I don't know, man. But I guess, you know, that's why Khan.
But look, I'm ready. I mean, anyone.
That's why he says that. You know,
Quinn Khan.
He knows he's always going to have his fandom for sure. Let's go out to L.A.
Mr. Info Joe.
This portion of the show we call In the Know, presented by my brother.
Yo, you know it ain't no show without Info Joe. What's up, my boxing brothers? Let me spit. Muhammad Ali, hands down, is the greatest of all time. Hands down. Floyd is the best of this era. You can't compare fighters from today with fighters from the Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler days. Those guys fought 15 rounds. Sometimes they would fight 6, 7, 8 times a year. They didn't have Gatorade and all this nutritionist, et cetera, all this protein and all this shit that they taking nowadays. But Floyd carried the sport of boxing after Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. He kept our sport alive, and I had another fucking point. And he set the bar high to where now these young fighters are getting paid millions of dollars now. He set the bar high at the gate so where when they're marketing your fight, they can have a good guesstimation. Can we pull numbers like Floyd. That's the goal now, is to pull Gates like Floyd and to hopefully one day get paid like Floyd. So he is the best of this era. He changed the game. And I want to ask y'all a question. Now, I remember when Muhammad Ali had that fight with that karate kung fu guy, whatever, right? That fight you don't see that fight on Muhammad Ali's box rec. It didn't count. He didn't have that as a professional professional sanctioned by the body.
Because that was not an official boxing fight. That was a mixed rules fight.
Of course. All right. Now, with this fight, the Floyd will have with McGregor, would that count as a 50th fight? And how can it count
if it is a
sanctioning bodies?
Absolutely. Listen. There's other professionals that have fought 0-0 fighters. It's on everybody's resume. Go check it. Kell Brook probably fought some 0-0 fighters, man. Check people's resume. Box rec them. Floyd could absolutely take a tune-up that's 0-0.
The only reason that the Muhammad Ali fight wasn't in his box rec is because those were not boxing rules. There was mixed rules in that bout. The bout between Mayweather and McGregor would be under boxing rules, the unified rules of boxing under the ABC.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that. Good show, brothers.
All right, Joe. Which is interesting that Floyd is intelligent. Why not bank that 50th fight right there? Phil Thrill, what is Floyd Mayweather's legacy, my friend?
What up, Ness, man? Salute to you, man. It's an honor just to be dropping the knowledge of boxing with you sometimes, B. But these callers, Ness, man, listen. First and foremost, if you not around 38, don't talk to me about no Floyd Mayweather cherry picking, man. Please, Joe. Sound crazy. First of all, he had to fight either Carlos Baldomir for the $8 million, or he wanted to fight Margarito for the $8 million. Margarito didn't have no belts. You know what I'm saying? Carlos Baldomir had the lineal. You go for the lineal, man. What are y'all talking about? And then that's why he left Bob Arum. How is it you allow Manny Pacquiao to take this leeway where Arum is running stuff? But when Floyd was with Arum, he couldn't do this. He couldn't pick who he wanted either. What are y'all talking about? Why are y'all going to sit here and say, oh, Floyd cherry pick? But yeah, it's still Manny. Oh, we're going to exclude Manny from the cherry pick because of Arum. Floyd was with Arum too, B. What are y'all talking about, man? Do that research. First of all, he wants to fight the Captain Mayors.
Phil Thrill.
Yeah,
but he got you got to get back off of speaker and talk into the phone. All right, B.
That's what I'm talking about. And as far as putting them in the damn time capsule and putting them in Sugar Ray Bennett, all them dudes do a white cross. Once he shows them all that white cross and come back, what answer do they got? Cut it out, man. I'm not saying Floyd could have did his thing in that era, but if you got Sugar Ray Leonard himself saying, yo, after he took that Mosley shot, I'm conditioned to the 49 era. Who are y'all?
90 seconds.
You couch potato. Your chin is in the safety of the living room while you drinking a chug of damn beer, yo. Your chin is not in that ring for me to be listening to you, dude, about, oh, he couldn't take, oh, he couldn't take, oh, this, that. You know that research, B. I'm 4 years old now. I watched the 4 years same age, man. What are y'all talking about, man? What are y'all doing else? I'm sorry, man. But this stuff, sometimes you sound like
60 seconds.
Man? He's the man in the past, B. That's all I gotta say. God bless you, Ness, man. Everybody else, what's up?
Phil Thrill, ladies and gentlemen. All those shots fired at the hipster.
I loved it.
I mean, what is the legacy of Floyd Mayweather?
Hold on. We got a ringer.
Jr. Why so serious, Jose?
Hello, Young Ali.
Oh, yo, I was about to. You heard the intro. I was coming in with your intro, but I like the sound of Young Ali better. That lets me know that you've already decided you're losing.
He's watched the video at least 10 times.
Young Ali and the current day Gabe Rosado. How you boys doing today? Good?
Yo, Gabe's a pro, though.
Yeah, he's a pro, man. He's a pro at losing. Anyway, let's get to this topic. You know what? I'm actually glad you guys did this topic, man, because 2 or 3 callers ago, the guy talking about, him being Mexican and how, he hated Floyd and now he loves him. I feel the same way, man. Like, looking back at Floyd, I think the biggest strike people can give Floyd is that he didn't fight Margarito. But I think you have to concede the fact that Margarito wasn't big enough to fight Floyd yet. Had Margarito not gotten busted for cheating and beaten Mosley, then that would have been a super fight, and Floyd would have taken it.
Because he loves taking Mexican fights.
Well, he didn't fight against Castillo?
No, there was no
Right?
there was no
Okay.
there was no sarcasm in that. I was confirming he loves taking Mexican
Oh,
fights.
okay. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, he would have done it, man, and no problem at all. He would have taken that challenge. So, I mean, to me, it's just a matter of people hating on Floyd. I couldn't agree more, man. It's just a hater society right now, man, and that's just the way shit is. I think Floyd wasn't very hard for me to say he's TBE because I never lived in the era of Ali or even Sugar Ray. I was younger, so I didn't know what the hell I was watching. So I think it's ridiculous when fans say no, Sugar Ray Robinson was TBE. Well, you never saw him fucking fight live. You never saw him on TV when I was showing it live. You're just watching all this from replays and from YouTube, and it's not the same feel. You don't know who his opponents were. You don't know what the buildup was. You didn't understand the moment, so you can't speak to it. So when Info Joe says Ali was TBE, I respect that because he lived that era and he knows it, right? So I can say, yeah, Info Joe knows what he's talking about. But
Damn, I don't think Joe's that old.
He could be.
No, he's not that old, but I mean, he was a teenager when Ali was fighting. He had common sense. He had his wits about boxing. He already understood the sport, right? We couldn't speak from it. Like when you're watching Sugar Ray and you're 10 years old, what the fuck do you know what you're watching? You don't know what you're watching, right? You're just watching what other people are telling you to watch. You'd probably still prefer to watch cartoons. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're old enough to know what you're watching, then you're old enough to give an opinion. And I don't think you could look back at those fights. That's my opinion.
Jose?
Or in the stadium. I just think, can you hear me?
Yes, you cut out for 1 split second, but you're back.
Okay, I was just saying, I think you have to watch the fight live to really understand the whole moment of the fight and understand what's going on and everything else. So, in my opinion, yeah, Floyd is TBE because I lived the era. I mean, there was other great boxers like Jones and De La Hoya, but at the end of the day, man, I got to give it to Floyd. He's still unbeaten. He fought the best of the best, and it's debatable at what stage he fought these guys at. Look, he fought Canelo, man. Canelo was a lion. Canelo hasn't improved leaps and bounds since he fought Floyd. If anything, that fight against Floyd meant more to Canelo than the upcoming fight of Triple G does, man. I'm telling you, it meant everything to Canelo, and he couldn't do it. So that's my opinion on it. Young Ali, sir, keep the training up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Yo, Jose.
Yo,
I got
I'm here.
I got new sparring, but until you guys release new sparring, I will not release this. But I will say I almost got dropped by a check left hook. Yo, and Enrique almost got dropped. I got two sparrings of 2 Team USA fails, but that's all you're gonna know. Bye. Yeah, man, I gotta go with a check left hook. Shout out to Money Sway. I feel like he feels, this era is the best. Fuck the past. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a historian. Sal, Young Mike Tyson in these streets. What up?
Yo, what's good with you guys, man? Hey, man, thank you for putting me in right after that caller. Let me make this point, bro. Just because you didn't live in that era doesn't mean you cannot speak on it. In school, they give you history classes so you can learn your history. Me, I'm young, bro. I'm 24, but I do my history on boxing. You know what I mean? I watched all these fights and all that good stuff. So I can speak on it. You guys remember, at the end of the day, all those old fights, you couldn't see them like nationwide. They were short circuit. You feel me? So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. But anyways, Floyd's career, bro. I mean, what? I don't know what the hell some of these people are talking about that are hating on him till this day. I feel me and my brother had this conversation because we're talking about the McGregor and Floyd fight, and if Conor has a chance, and I was telling him no, blah blah blah, right? But I told him it's just Floyd is going through a thing that Ali went through. Remember when Ali he didn't want to get drafted? I feel like more people hated Ali at that point in time than people hate Floyd now. But look at Ali's legacy now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, including myself, consider Ali as the greatest of all time.
But Sal,
you just got to give it time. I feel later on in the future. Yeah, go ahead.
You comparing Ali.
Yeah.
Hold on. You comparing Ali dodged the draft due to not agreeing with the morals of the Vietnam War, and obviously during the height of the civil rights movement, to Floyd Mayweather, who is a convicted domestic abuser. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, to compare why they're to say that they are both hated is true at certain points, and you can even say that Muhammad Ali was more hated. I will give you that, but the reasons why they're hated were very, very different. And I think obviously the public has forgiven Ali in a sense because we realize Ali fought for what was right. Mayweather did not fight for any cause that was bigger than him. He fought for his money, and he beat some women. So I mean, like, I'm sorry, the reasons why they're hated are very, very different.
Well, wait a minute. I would argue.
So you're saying that in
I was just gonna say I would argue that the cause that he fought that was bigger than him is the PED cause.
But I wouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I wouldn't.
Why not,
bro?
I wouldn't even. Sorry. If you say that's his cause, you can say that, but that's not a cause comparable to what Muhammad Ali stood for.
No, you're not. But you're not getting what I'm trying to tell you. I'm telling the pure hate. You have to understand that people hated. I feel like people hated more Ali when he did all that, like a pure hate, because they looked at him like he wasn't a patriot.
But again, that was also a time when America was America was against the civil rights movement at that time. America was racist. I mean, come on, like America was overtly racist at that time. It was very different than the early 2000s. It was very different than the early 2000s, and Mayweather being a convicted domestic abuser. And that's why a lot of people do not like Mayweather, because he beat women. And Muhammad Ali never did that.
Bro, what do you mean, though?
What do you mean what I mean? He went to jail for it. Went to prison for it.
I'm telling you right now. It's the same thing. There's racism now. What you talking about?
I'm not...
You're acting like there's no racism.
I'm not saying that there's no racism. I'm the social justice warrior in this show. What are you fucking talking about? I'm saying that Mayweather beat women. People will never forgive that. Or if they do, he will have to do so much to earn that respect back. Just like Mike Tyson did. Mike Tyson had to do so much and had to be in the public spotlight so much and seem like the nicest guy for the public to forgive him being a convicted rapist. It's very different to compare those reasons those guys were hated and the reasons Muhammad Ali was hated and the time and the context of the time that Muhammad Ali was hated in. You just can't compare the two. I'm sorry.
You're telling me that more people hate Floyd than they hated Muhammad Ali at that point.
I'm not saying that. I just said you can say Muhammad Ali was more hated. I said I agree with you on that. But the reason he was hated was vastly different. And again, Muhammad Ali stood for something that was righteous, that the public has gone back and goes, oh, obviously he stood for something righteous. He should not have been hated for that. While Mayweather beat women. What the fuck are you comparing here? How can you compare somebody not wanting to go to war and
Matt, I think you
America and somebody a domestic abuser?
Matt, I think you need to step back and listen. I think that you're not understanding what he is saying because you keep bringing up domestic violence. He never talked about that.
But that's why Mayweather's hated. Let's be completely honest.
Thank you.
But he's not arguing that. Hold on a minute. Hold on. But he's not arguing that. What he's arguing is that Ali was hated more.
No. Your point, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sal, because you know I love you, Sal. This is no hate. This is debate. But you said that Muhammad Ali, the public forgave. Hold on, the public forgave Muhammad Ali, even though Muhammad Ali was hated more. I'm saying that the reasons Muhammad Ali was hated more were vastly different and have proven to be unjustly reasons. The reasons Mayweather is hated now are very different. So
yes, but there is no difference.
Hold on. There is difference. There is vast difference.
Not.
You cannot say draft dodging and beating women is the same.
No, listen.
That's the reason they're hated. You can't say the two hatred are the same.
You're blocking out the rest of his statement.
I'm asking him to clarify, and you cut me off. I'm trying to get him to clarify his statement.
No, he still said that they were both hated. Just give it time, and people will forget about Mayweather.
But will they? People haven't forgiven Michael Vick. Hold on, people haven't. Hold on, time out. Let me talk. People haven't forgiven Michael Vick, and he killed dogs. So why are people going to forgive Mayweather and he beat women? I'm just saying.
Because Mike Tyson raped a woman.
I'm not saying Mike Tyson. I'm saying Michael Vick. Michael Vick hasn't been forgiven. Listen to my words, Ness. Listen to my words.
You're not listening. That's the thing. You just want to argue. You need to breathe. I'm bringing up Mike Tyson. That is domestic violence at the highest fucking level, and they forgave him. You're hung up on Mayweather's domestic violence.
And I said, look how much Mike Tyson had to do. I addressed that issue, Ness.
If they forgave a convicted
have you listened to me?
If they forgave a convicted rapist, there's no big deal. There's no big deal for Mayweather. In a couple of years, they'll forget his shit too. Like they have.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
All right.
Mike Tyson's demeanor post his career has been very different than Mayweather's.
Possibly, but it doesn't matter that time. No, the phrase "time heals everything" is a phrase for a reason, bro.
But we have plenty of examples. Hold on, time out. We have plenty of examples of guys having a fall from grace once and never being accepted in the public eye again. Look at Bill Cosby. Look at Michael Vick. There's plenty of examples of this. To say that Mayweather will be the exception to that, I think is not maybe inaccurate. I'm just saying we can't say that now. We can't say that he will be forgiven by time. But when we saw Ali be forgiven by time for very different reasons, we can't compare the two. If you want to compare Mike Tyson and Mayweather, that's an apt comparison. That's an apt comparison, Sal.
You don't got to compare it to anybody else. Compare it to Tyson.
But don't compare it to Ali because those are very different reasons.
If they forgave Tyson, they'll forgive him. It's that simple. They've already forgiven him. You're bugging, dog. Whatever he says is news. Yeah.
What do you mean? Every casual that I know does not like, especially women that watch the sport a little bit. They don't like Mayweather because of what he did.
Okay. Go ahead, Sal.
Yo, man. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna throw gas on the fire. So it's all love, guys. But anyway, all I'm trying to say, bro, is we're speaking on legacy, pure legacy. I just feel in about 20 years or maybe even sooner that the boxing public or the boxing fans are going to look back, the ones that hated Mayweather, and say, you know what, he was one of the greatest. Look at that defense. People can say all day long, he ducked him. At the end of the day, bro, when it was time for him to fight, what did he do? I'm sorry, what did he do in the ring? My favorite fight, and a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell, is the Manny Pacquiao fight. Because a lot of people saying Floyd ducked, Floyd did this, but I'm sorry, Floyd is older than Manny. So what they're trying to say that Floyd is waiting for him to get out of his prime, he's risking it too because he's just getting older himself and he's older than Manny. And when he finally fought Manny, bro, I mean, we all seen the fucking fight. You feel me? All I gotta say is, in a few years, the people that don't like Floyd, I feel gonna respect him. That's my call.
All right, Sal. Thanks for calling in. Let's get out to a few people. I got to get to my boomerang here. Sal must have ticked him off. He's calling back. Where is he? Oh, there he goes.
Yo, I'll be really quick because I know there's people and you guys got to do a show. I just think Matt's missing the point. Matt, you're just such a social justice warrior and so colorblind. You don't understand, man. Your argument is flawed because the reason they hate Ali, the reason they hate Floyd is because what Sal says. It's racism, man. They hate him because he's black. He could have fucking stolen a chocolate bar and people would still hate him, man. It's just the way it is.
Mayweather has earned some of his hate.
That's the world you live in, man.
Oh, you don't think Mayweather's persona, him beating women, again, why are we downplaying beating women? We shouldn't downplay Mike Tyson raping someone either.
How many We shouldn't.
We do, though. We do, unfortunately, but we shouldn't downplay it.
Beat the shit out of them. Why? How many athletes have done DUIs? How many athletes have killed people?
And do I celebrate them? Do I celebrate them?
He wants to go back to the Scarlet Letter. He wants Mayweather.
Do I celebrate them? Hold on. He brought other athletes like I defend those athletes. Do I defend those athletes, Jose? Do I defend other domestic abusers? Am I inconsistent with my logic? No.
Saying this, Matt, the reason I don't, because here's the thing, man. The reason people hate Mayweather, one of the biggest reasons is because of his skin color. Because if he would have been an Irish kid or an Italian American, people would love him a whole lot more, man. That's just the reality of this world, my friend, and that's what you're missing. So as people evolve and people become more intelligent, they'll realize that shit is stupid.
I'm not arguing that racism
they disagree
was the main contributor for Ali's hate or not a contributor to Mayweather's hate.
Flamboyant.
But the reasons why we are given as to why Ali is hated. Hold on, Jose. The reasons as to why we are given.
I'm going to tell him to hold on. I thought that was his call.
The public narrative of Ali dodged the draft, therefore that's why he was hated. And the idea of Mayweather beat women, that's why he is hated.
People hated him.
You cannot compare those two. I'm sorry.
People hated him before because he changed religions. People hated him before because
that's very true. Because they're racist.
And that's not what exactly. That's not what people in his era wanted him to do as a colored man. They wanted.
Do you think that racism was the main contributor for Mayweather being hated? Do you think that? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Because if you talked to me in 2008,
I know people hate him because his conviction of domestic abuse was what 2-3 years ago. People hated him far before then, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, it's just a black hole. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to just give my opinion on that, man. And that's it, boys. I'll hear you guys later on tonight, all right? Peace.
Man, we're going to get more of that for sure. Let's keep it moving here. Bring them on.
Yo, what's good, fellas?
I mean, what up?
Look, Mayweather's legacy. Listen, yo, Mayweather's legacy, I ain't gonna go too far back with it, yo, but at the end of the day, I grew up watching boxing when it was coming on USA on Tuesday night fights, and when you had it coming on CBS and all of that. So it's a lot of fights that was available to somebody that's in their late 30s, definitely in their early to mid 40s. With that being said, Floyd Mayweather is definitely the greatest defensive fighter. I think we get it misread when we keep talking about he should have fought this person because everybody, 49 people he's been in the ring with, we thought they may be better than him at some point. So everybody looks good until they're in the ring with him. And that's always been the case. So we can't start to downplay the opponents and say he should have fought this guy, he should have fought that guy. We can't even go there. I would have loved to see him fight Timothy Bradley. I think it would be a very challenging fight. But Manny Pacquiao looks good until he's in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. All right? Guys do their best. Mosley did his best. Maidana, they did their best. They didn't win. Now, when we start talking across eras, I think the conversation got off track because, and in a good way, because we got to talk about character and adversity. Some of the adversity is your character when you come into the ring as a fighter. Because people thought Sugar Ray Leonard was a straight pretty boy, but he had the mitt. And he was taking cats' jaws loose. Thomas Hearns, like a smooth playboy, but he was in there throwing blows. Marvin Hagler had the worker mentality. Mike Tyson was the warrior from the streets. A lot of these things created different adversities. People thought you was boring and minimized your talent. And some of the greatest fighters, it's fighters that shine in their era, and Floyd got his era. That's my call.
I mean, thanks for calling in. Let's go out to Detroit.
Straight to the point for those with attention deficit. I'm so repetitive, so I gotta repeat. Stainless from the streets to the deep. I'm coming with that heat. All you need to know about me, I'm coming with that heat.
Yo, Ness, Matt, what up?
What up?
Lainez, what up?
Ain't nothing. Hey, Matt, man, you need to go pull a cone, man. I see. I know Mayweather got you passionate about it, man. That just speaks to his legacy, though. He's a household name, so
that should speak to his legacy. I mean, I don't really want to touch on the domestic violence, but as I recall, Sugar Ray Robinson hit his wife a few times. Jake LaMotta was a known woman beater. So, I mean, we can't. You have to separate who they are in the ring from who they are out the ring sometimes. And even if you can't, time does heal all wounds. So, I mean, you have to argue that. And I mean, it's not like he's a multiple convicted domestic assault assailant. You know, it's just the one time, and even he admitted to it. He apologized for it. You know, and if he and the woman can move on, and I understand it's gonna be hate. You know, because haters gonna hate.
Stainless.
You know what I'm saying? We talking about boxing. Yeah, what up?
Very, very quickly, I just want to say, when I bring up any of the reasons why these guys are hated outside the ring, that should never play a factor into their legacy in the ring. Even Mike Tyson's convicted rape, Mayweather's convicted domestic abuse. Those do not define what they have done inside the ring. Some of the Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Robinson, etc., Muhammad Ali, any sort of controversial thing they've done outside the ring does not take away the wins and losses they have on their resume.
Of course. No, and I mean, I get to the point they're saying, because you do have to take the legacy of them as a person. You know, you do take that into perspective. But I mean, one caller said he was raised being a Mexican to descent to hate Mayweather. That's because of his business, and he fought a lot of Mexicans. He, you know what I'm saying, he might have went over the line or came just to it, but marketing and promotion, the dude so well. You know, that's also a part of his legacy, and open up people's mindset to make money. Even though they might not have got it all, you know, they starting to get the pieces. So, I mean, and his name is synonymous with boxing. I mean, especially right now in this era. I mean, even I can't even say casual fans, like, because they don't even watch boxing. But if I tell them I watch boxing, the first thing they ask me is, do you think Mayweather gonna fight McGregor? You know, do you think Mayweather gonna beat McGregor? You know what I'm saying? So that makes you legendary. So I mean, we do have to respect the, you know. Plus, we've all seen what he's done outside the ring, and as I keep hearing that outside of the Margarito, you know what I'm saying, and as everybody else keeps stepping to it, it's people who beat Margarito who Floyd beat. So okay, let's get that man his due. But as always, first off, I want to say shouts out to Igloo for sponsoring this. And second, make sure that you push the thumbs up and share this in every episode of the Boxing Voice podcast. Peace, man. Thanks for the show, and I'll see y'all on the next one.
Hey, Stainless.
Yeah, what up?
We're going to be back at 7 o'clock. Make sure you go check out Patreon, you know what I mean? So we can talk.
Yeah, overtime. I heard you on it. I heard you. You know.
We'll talk on overtime.
Oh, well,
don't worry about it. I don't want Matt getting jealous. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk on overtime.
That's what's up.
Because Matt's starting to hate on me. I don't know why.
You hate on me? What are you talking about?
I can feel the hate coming, B. T from Toronto. What up?
What up? You know, as always, I'm going to come from a little bit different angle than everybody else is. So I'm going to repeat everybody else's calls. But if you look at Floyd's record, he started at featherweight and he worked his way all the way up. If you take the records of all the greatest fighters of all time, whoever you consider to be the greatest of all time, and you look at their record from 30 plus years old, I'm saying, 95% of them, they're at the heaviest weight. Their skills have diminished. The odds are against them. And they've taken multiple losses and look like shells in themselves. Floyd is 30 plus years old, the back half of his career, fighting at 147. He took one fight at 154. And he beat the best guys out there. Outclassed them. Dominated them. Young and old. No other fighter in history has been able to do that at the heaviest weight and at the oldest age. Nobody. That puts him in a class by himself. So he's allowed to call himself the best ever, if he so chooses, because he's done something that nobody else has ever done before. People can argue other people, so on and so forth. But he is definitely in the conversation 100%, and that's not refutable.
Well, all right, T. Thanks for calling in. Let me get out to some other callers here on the line. Who we got?
I won't deny you.
Dollar D Beyonce Productions.
Come with me. Hail Mary, run quick, see what we have here now. ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Dollar D Beyonce Productions.
What's going on, Ness? Matt?
What up?
Listen, man.
They calling you the best intro, man.
Oh yeah?
They saying
All right,
they
that's
saying
good.
best
I
intro
love
in the
it.
chat.
Okay. Well, shout out to the chat. Hey, let me start out by saying Floyd is a legend, man. I call him TBE, but that's not for the best ever. I call him the best of this era. I can't call him the best ever because I got Ali at number 1. I got Floyd at number 2 though. Floyd for me fills in all the boxes, man. I mean, he got the head movement, the footwork, the defense, the ring IQ, and then he's beating everybody in the ring, and he even beat the whole punch drunk status. You know what I mean? So I give it to him. All he does is win. That's a perfect saying for him. And I ain't trying to fucking be no on his nuts or nothing. I'm just recognizing that's it. But regarding like him not fighting Khan and Danny Garcia, I'm surprised anybody would even say that after they seen Khan get dropped and everyone's seen his chin now. And then Danny Garcia, I mean, I like Danny Garcia, but I like him. But you saw he looked a little slowish against Keith Thurman. So if he looked slow against one time, I mean, I can imagine what he's going to look like against Mayweather, you know. So I got him on that. And plus, Mayweather dismantled Canelo. I mean, he beat El Chino, who's a beast. I mean, you put names out there, and I'm just sticking up close to his resume. I'm not even going back as far as Castillo and Corrales. I'm not talking about no controversy. I'm talking about the W's he got from them. And so I got him up there, man. Got him way up there. And I don't bring his outside the ring issues into when I'm talking about his legacy. And I mean, because shit, life is life. I don't know what happened there, you know. That's on them. That's the whole different. That's law. That's got nothing to do with boxing. So I don't go there. And one big thing too that Floyd did that I guess people forget. He was the first one I ever saw really promote a clean sport. He's the one that was doing the whole testing, and so I got to give him a lot of props for that. Great show, and I love it. Thanks to Patreon. Thank you all the Patreons that are subscribed, and TBV all day, man.
For sure, man. Shout out to Alex Lemon and actually Igloo because he sponsored this on demand. James, all around strong. What's going on?
What up? What up? All around strong in the building. Can you hear me? I'm good.
Loud and clear.
All right, quickly. I want to talk about what Matt said for about 15 seconds, and I'm gonna get into my little breakdown. It ain't gonna be long. All right, look, man. I'm just coming at you as a man, shorty. You try out of line talking about that racism don't got nothing to do with it. If you're not black, man, that's not you. This is to anybody. If you're not black, you can't really talk about black issues. Just like if I'm not a certain heritage, I can't say how racism don't affect.
That's not what I said.
I think that was connected. Hold on, hear me out. I think
That's not what I said.
I think it sounded like him. He even said that he ain't African American, and it's obvious that Floyd is hated because he's black. Yeah, maybe he got a mouth and personality and all that, but let's come on, man. Don't insult your audience intelligence. That's my take. We all men know how feelings. I got that off my chest. Now, let me quickly break down why Floyd is the best ever, damn it. All right, he's definitely the best of his era because the fighter of the decade, who they gave it to Manny Pacquiao, got beat easily. So that disputes that. He's definitely the best of his era. I'm going to tell you why he's the best ever. Now, I ain't really a big fan of saying the best ever like most people because, we all know we wasn't alive 57 years ago. But I'm going to tell you why, man. He's the best ever, first of all, because he got the most records. You know what I'm saying? He got the highest CompuBack percentage, landed on and not landed against. He got 5 titles in 5 different weight classes. He made the most money ever. It's already alluded to that he had the 3 of the highest gates and the highest pay-per-views ever. He got the best work ethic, or one of the best work ethics in sports, period. And then on top of that, you great and you the best based on your peers in any industry, whether you're a businessman, a barber, a podcast, whatever you do. And all people in boxing, even people that despise Floyd, they all say he the best. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Big G, Robert Garcia. Obviously, I don't know the dude. You know what I'm saying? But I be looking at the little YouTube videos. Shout out to Ellie Setback. I know he be doing the videos in Robert Garcia camp. He says he's the best ever, or one of the best ever. Mikey Garcia says it. If you go all across the board, Slim, there's no denying it, young. In any category, whether it's defense, whether it's live gate, whether it's records, whether it's titles, whether it's anything you name, Slim, he's the best ever. Shorty, even if you don't think he's the best fighter, he's the best businessman in boxing. So he's the best ever. And that's my call. Shout out to the Boxing Voice. Again, Matt, it's all good, Slim. I'm just voicing my opinion, but just be careful, Slim. Sometimes you don't want to draw certain lines. Shout out to my man Ness, all around strong, all day long. DMV, I'm out.
All right.
Just for the record, again, just to clarify, James, love you, man. I not say it had nothing to do with it. I'm just saying, was it the number one thing? Is it the number one reason why Mayweather is hated? I don't know. In 2008, and I think Ness cut me off before I said this. In 2008, I would say no. In 2017, I'm unsure, to be honest, just with today's climate. So I don't know. I'm not pretending to know. I'm just saying it's more in question to me. Ali was in the 60s and the 70s during the civil rights movement. He went from being a Christian to a Muslim. He dodged the Vietnam draft. I mean, like the racism was way more evident then than it is now. I'm not saying it's not the number one reason. I'm just saying I just don't know. With Ali, it seems more obvious.
So you know who I miss? I miss blackface.
I thought I won the fight.
You thought you won the fight? Why?
Ain't no fucking padding in the fucking glove.
Yeah. Respect to everyone listening in the past, present, or future. Just checking in on this spontaneous show. As far as I'm concerned, Floyd is the best ever. And as far as I'm concerned, he should be top 5 dead or alive on everybody's list. I mean, he was one of the reasons it was Floyd and a few other fighters I'm not going to name who originally got me into the sport. And I've seen his career play out for maybe the final 10, 15 fights maybe since I've been taking the sport seriously. And some of the things that he's been able to do. I mean, just the motivation factor alone, the fact that he makes all this money, and we've seen other fighters come and go where they just have 1 good payday, 2 good paydays, and then they bugger off out the sport. This guy, every single time, he doesn't underestimate any opponent. He takes the sport as serious as anybody else would. His dedication just to the training regime alone, just to stay motivated enough to do it, year after year after year. That's just something that's never been seen before, and I don't think we'll ever see again. And the way I grade fighters, as far as I'm concerned, him and a few other fighters sit at the call table, and all these other fighters out here are trying to reach that call table. But Mayweather and Pacquiao as well, they've lifted the bar so high that it's going to be very difficult for any other fighter to even reach these call tables. Yeah, you hear people talk about, he didn't fight such and such guy and such guy. But, I can understand how people can say that, but the people who claim he should have fought, they're not even qualified, in my opinion. I mean,
they're not even around. They're not even around anymore, bro.
Yeah, it's like, for example, this because I went back and did some research in regards to it. People talk about he ducked. What was that tall guy who's in the wheelchair now? What's his name? Paul Williams.
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams. Yeah. I didn't realize he lost to Edison De Lara, a guy who's half the fighter that Floyd is. In fact, a quarter of the fighter that Floyd was. He lost that fight to Edison De Lara. But then people want to say that, he would have murdered Floyd. Maybe he would have, but even with all these losses, you could say, in my opinion, I think he lost the first Maradona fight Floyd did. Even when he lost that fight, he still gave the guy a rematch and then beat him easily in the rematch. So it doesn't even make that much of a difference. He still gives all these guys shots out here. His resume speaks for itself. It's just ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. And even though you can say he was born with somewhat of a silver spoon in his mouth, considering his uncle was a world champion before he even came out of his mother's womb. Just to have that mentality and the dedication to do what he does, I think is incredible. I mean, I don't really care that he was beating bitches and burning money in clubs. That doesn't make any difference to me. At the end of the day, when he laces up them gloves and steps into the ring, he's about winning. That's all he cares about, and I think he'd do anything in his power to make that win. So yeah, I just thought I'd call in. Shout out to Rubsky. I've been talking to him for a couple of messages now. Shout out to him. I think everyone needs to get on Patreon now. It's a really interesting environment over there. It's a little bit more laid back than it is on YouTube. Nestor smoking weed on camera, Matt shooting up heroin. It's all right out there. It's all right there. Everyone should subscribe, man. It's pretty cool.
Whoa! Don't say that. That's not true at all. Don't say that. You're gonna stick with weed. I mean, perfectly okay. I don't know why you had to go to heroin, but okay, man.
Yo,
what the fuck?
He said Matt doing heroin. Yeah, I'm sure you got an outro, Blackface.
Whenever you think about quitting, think about why you started.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I thought about today. It was like, yo, I'm going to go this extra 3 rounds right here because Matt ain't doing it. Matt ain't doing it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, shit. 516 dropped off, man.
Oh, my goodness.
He was like a new caller, B.
Oh. Do we not have any more callers now?
Yeah, we do. But I was trying to get the 516, and he probably felt, he was like, fuck yeah, y'all made me wait. David, what's up in the UK?
Hey, guys. Yeah, interesting discussion. Just want to make a few quick points, I guess. First one, I guess, just to address the racism thing quickly. Obviously, there is a racism component towards Floyd, but I would say the bigger reason he's probably hated more is because, when we had the big recession in 2009, 2010, obviously a lot of people lost their jobs, lives were ruined, and he's out there, flashing his money, throwing it around or whatever, buying, Rolls Royces, Bentleys and whatever, and obviously people were, really struggling. So I think black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever you are, obviously to some people that's quite distasteful. But the real point I want to make is, the double standard held against Floyd is ridiculous. I mean, like people say, Floyd never fought anyone in his prime, and Sugar Ray Leonard, he fought everyone in his prime. Like when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns for the first time, he was 23. I mean, Floyd fought Canelo when he was 23, and then when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Duran for the first time, and even the second time, you could even say he was, Duran didn't live the life. He was over the hill. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't fight the best Duran. Kind of the same way they dismiss Pacquiao. Oh yeah, Pacquiao was finished off the Marquez knockout and stuff like that. So, it's very easy to go through people's records and pick them apart and say, oh, he didn't fight him in his prime. But I think there's a massive double standard when looking at Floyd's record versus Sugar Ray Leonard, who's always like thrown out as sort of, oh yeah, he was better because he was the sort of best of that 80s era. And then I'd say Sugar Ray Robinson kind of has to, for me. So yeah, anyway, for me, Floyd is the best ever. And you could obviously, I would have to say, you'd almost have to put Sugar Ray Robinson next to him with a little asterisk because 3/4 of his career wasn't even televised. So we can't really measure exactly how great he was. So I don't know what you guys think about that, whether you've got any points to make, whether you agree or disagree with that.
I agree with a lot, man. The hipster will not, David, but what I will say is that in the chat, Christian Padilla definitely says he likes this call and wants to know who you are. I just let him know, David Beanie in the UK, man, you might want to head on over to YouTube and partake in that chat. You could also find Christian on our Patreon. And there's a couple other shows over there that you guys definitely should be checking out. And we just released all the sparring footage for Border Wars for our Canadian opponents. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot over there that we have to discuss and let you know about. Let me see. We have Matt's opponent is out. That sparring is out. Yes. Yes, Matt. We're worried. We're worried. Warren La Mosca Montilla. He's looking pretty
ass kicked. That's what's happening.
I don't know. He's looking good versus Angelo Huracan Habib, aka the Canadian Mayweather. And there's even some footage of my opponent, Zach, the Mac Daddy, aka the Situation from Jersey Shore, Kramer. And he's sparring versus a cheap imitation to me. I will say that. Dude looks nothing like me, but at least the height is there. So I guess he's getting some sort of something. But we got our 7 o'clock show. I want to remind you guys.
Join us every Thursday and Sunday live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
And don't forget.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
We'll get those reviews read right back to you live here. So definitely drop us a 5-star review if you enjoy the podcast, because it helps with the visibility. If you're watching this in the future, present, or past, doesn't matter. Hit that thumbs up button, which also helps with the visibility of the show. We got a few reviews that we'll probably get to at 7 o'clock. I'm your host, Nestor Gibbs. This was an on-demand show brought to you again by our Patreon and on-demand supporter, Igloo. Shout out to Igloo, obviously, for being a loyal listener of the Boxing Voice Radio. Matt, where could they find you?
You can find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt Hunter TBV on Instagram, and you better follow me there because you get my music reviews, a sneak preview of my music reviews on TBV Overtime. That's only on Patreon on my Instagram. So go follow me there. And Mixed Combat Radio is my MMA podcast. You can do that on Patreon, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, etc. Peace.
Don't forget, tonight, live on Patreon, we will be doing TBV Overtime. If you haven't been a part of that, you're missing out. And that will be immediately at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Once again, thank you guys for listening. See you next time.